Hello, Internet, and thank you for joining me today. So, I went to Nightmare in the Ozarks for Friday only, and it was an interesting experience. I'll do a separate video on the experience overall, but I want to do a micro review for every movie I saw there. These are going to be short and punchy to try to get a bunch of these out this week, so let me jump straight into it with the first film I saw, Hell of the Living Dead. Now, this was the first film of the day, starting at 10 a.m., and only the hardcore horror audience was there. This was probably the ideal way to see this movie because it's one of those movies that's still trying to parrot Romero's Night of the Living Dead well after it made any kind of sense to do so in the 80s. As well as being incredibly low budget and Italian, that means that this movie is best experienced with a group that loves the B horror movie scene, considering that we can all cheer and laugh together when the lazy corporate filmmakers cut into Bruno Mattei and Claudio Fragasso's attempts at making a legit movie. There is tons of stock footage, nonsensical character decisions to make it ripe for jokes and laughter from the audience. We follow a group of special force type guys as they wander around a jungle meeting racist stereotypes of tribal people, as well as a documentary crew that is trying to capture the zombie apocalypse on camera. The story hardly matters though, since we are here for blood, boobies, and what Italian old men thought Australia was like in the 1970s. This film is good old-fashioned fun, where obviously the extras were paid a third of a sandwich to get makeup slapped on them and have a camera pointed at them for all of 10 seconds. My favorite parts were where there's clearly no direction given to the extras as zombies, and they just kind of stare at the named characters as they walk past them in defiance of all common sense and logic. Also, shout out to the one guy who kept running into a horde of zombies to taunt them into doing something, which this is actually a pretty layered joke because he's screaming at a bunch of Aboriginal extras who weren't going to be able to speak Italian in the first place, but I'm hearing it in English because we watched the dub version of it, and then you can stop and realize he's essentially yelling at wolves in the wild because these people are the living dead. They don't possess the thought process to get angry, let alone be angry in Italian, a language they didn't speak when they were alive. Oh my god, this movie's a gem. And you think after he ran into the third horde of zombies and did this, it would stop being as funny, but I was still laughing my ass off after he was getting eaten while doing it. Another thing that I found really kind of funny was how scenes don't really end in this movie. They just kind of move on. Like 1 minute, the chick is crying because she watched a kid eat his own father, and then smash cut to some stock footage of a jackal eating some kind of small rodent because the producers of this could not give a shit about whose ever documentary footage they're stealing. Another thing they didn't give a shit about was Rosella Drudry. Drudry? I don't know how to say your name, ma'am. I am sorry. Anyway, the person with Severin Films at the festival told us the story about how she didn't get credit for writing this movie despite being one of the driving forces of it. And it's all because she was a woman and it was thought that that would hurt the film. So he took the script that he had from her and authored a novelization of this movie, crediting her as a screenwriter on the film since she played such a pivotal role in it. And as to whether I would recommend either the book or the movie, I'd say if the movie is streaming for free somewhere and you have some friends around to play something like Cards Against Humanity, it's a great thing to throw on in the background and occasionally look at and laugh. Otherwise, if you want a better version of the whole story, stick with the book. And tune in later today or tomorrow for my next movie watching experience. I'm going to be trying to get these out as quickly as I can, so they're going to be fairly rough, but you can probably sense that from the way that I edit this thing. Anyway, till next time, like and subscribe. Sayonara, bitches.